Hi there. Um, since there are a number of you following me on YouTube, or a few of you following me, I thought maybe I would just tell you a bit about myself so you have a sense of where I'm coming from in life. So, I grew up in Mississauga, which is a community just west of Toronto. I then went to Trent University where I took Native Studies. I don't know where that came from, but I've always had an interest and a love of the First Nations way of being in the world, and so I took that program. I didn't finish that program, but I ended up going to live in a community in Northern Ontario, way north of Superior, called Long Lac, and I lived there for a while and became really good friends with a number of people. And to this day, we have stayed connected. And it's just such a rich part of my life to have my First Nations friends, and they continue to inspire and inform me in many ways. I left Long Lac and I came back to Mississauga and ended up being working at a storefront drop-in center, and I stayed there for 10 years at a place called Square One in Mississauga. And it was really an opportunity to just be with people and care for them, and all sorts of different kinds of people from all walks of life would find their way to this drop-in center. So as coordinator, it was a pretty big responsibility, taking care of all the volunteers and all the drop-ins and visioning programs. And for me, I loved it. It was just an incredible experience, and continue to have connections with that drop-in, as one of my very closest friends has looked after it for the last 35 years or so. So from that experience, actually, I burnt out there because I'm not sure if any of you have done the Enneagram work, but I'm a 2 on the Enneagram, and the 2 is like the caregiver. The whole sense of being is to look after people, and I didn't have any healthy sense of boundaries. So when I was hiding under my desk and not wanting to see people, I knew that it was time for me to take a break uh, from that situation. So I think as I look back, the burnout was actually a gift because it got me into a deeper reflection of my inner world and becoming more self-aware. So I took 3 months off and visited my aunt in California, and went back up to Long Lac to fish with my good friends up there. And it it was a time of healing and reflection, of sort of getting my soul back and myself back. And I realized that the drop-in center was not where I was called to be, because I didn't. It was hard to exercise boundaries there, and my personality type, I need to be in a work that has boundaries, because I'm not good at, or I wasn't good at. I'm much better at it, of putting boundaries around myself. So I started to do different kinds of things, trying to figure out who I was called to be, or where my passions were, and what I might like to do. So in that recovery from burnout, and for me, it took a number of years. And I ended up going back and finishing my degree at the University of Toronto, and got a BA in Religious Studies, and did various things. Bought a house, decided that I might like to find a companion to be on the journey with me. So Bob and I met. Actually, I answered an ad in the Toronto Star back in the day, and so we've been together for 30 years now, I think. And it's been a great relationship, and it's been one of learning about myself in this kind of relationship, as I share my life with another. And then I thought, like I'm not really, I was offering myself in various ways to various social services and Christian community things, but I didn't feel I had actually landed into what my passion was and where I was called to be. So I had gone to do spiritual direction work at a retreat house here in Guelph called Loyola House. And I did the um, retreat, the Ignatian exercises, and it was like a 40-week program, but I did it once a week, basically over a year. And that was a time of real discernment as to my life's call. I found that my understanding of God or the divine was really in a transitional period. And my spiritual director had done her master's program at Regis College, which is a Jesuit college at the Toronto School of Theology. And I said to her, that really interests me, that master's degree in ministry and spirituality. And she said, oh my God, Wendy, that's just so you. So I went and registered and did that 2-year program. And it was absolutely awesome. It really helped me name my spiritual experiences. And every course that we did there, the professors and actually the dean of the college said you need to theologically reflect on your own personal experience. So it was a real time of integrating the heart and the head. And that has just been such a key in my spiritual formation, is to do that inner reflection on how that's touching me and how that's speaking to me, and the understanding that God is wanting that intimate kind of relationship with each one of us and with me. And it wasn't a head trying to aspire to something. It was just in the ground of who I am is is where the divine's at work and calling and inviting for transformation and inner reflection and all that kind of stuff. So Regis program, I would say, would be a pivotal moment in my spiritual life and journey. And so from there, one of my classmates, Martin, Capuchin Franciscan friar from New Zealand, had come over to Toronto to take this course. And he said, we have a retreat house up in Caledon that you might be very interested in, like we had visioned and dreamed about retreats and offering this kind of stuff. So anyway, it ended up that my husband and I went and lived at Mount Overno Retreat Center for 7 years. And the friars there, Brother David and Brother Ignatius, were offering the Franciscan spiritual direction program globally. So I was very fortunate in being able to connect into that program with them. And the Franciscan and Francis of Assisi, I just so resonate with. He just, I could go on and on about Francis, and I have some actually in my YouTube offerings. There's some stuff there about Francis of Assisi, and I think you'll pick up on my passion about Francis and how he continues to inspire and speak to all of us today. His way of being in the world and how he lived his life was such an inspiration, calling us to that simplicity of life and to see the goodness of God in all of creation. Because we've been through the Christian world over the last 2,000 years. I think really the message got hijacked somehow. And I'm so glad that I found the Franciscan movement, because it resonates that we're not sinful, that we're good, that what God created is good, including you and me. And as we experience the incredible love that the Divine One has for each one of us, then we embark on our journey of life review and life reflection. So it's not the other way around. Like God doesn't demand this repentance and sacrifice and all that before love happens. Love happens. Love is, and it's as we move into that place of embracing the love of being loved that's the starting point. So after leaving Regis, I went to this Mount Alverno retreat house for 7 years. And it was just a wonderful experience of serving different people that came for retreats, a lot of school retreats. And it's a beautiful property. And just so enjoyed that experience. But Bob and I decided that we would move from there and establish our own kind of place. So we got a bed and breakfast here in central Ontario and offered a bit of a retreat center and bed and breakfast. So that was just a wonderful experience working with my husband and meeting all sorts of different kinds of people in different kinds of ways again. But my mom had a stroke, so I needed to go back to Mississauga and journey with her through her recovery. So we had to give up the bed and breakfast. But we've remained in the same community here in Central Ontario for the last 15 years. And I've continued on as a spiritual director. I companion many people, a lot of priests and people in ministry, as they seek to discern God's voice. And it's actually just really a safe place for people to explore what's going on in their life. And sometimes we don't have those safe places in the world. So spiritual direction offers that, and it's really a deep listening kind of place. And knowing that each one of us within ourselves knows the answers. So it's not pastoral care or direction in that kind of way. It's just a place to explore what's going on and to discern the Spirit's activity in the midst of it all. So that's where I have. So the last 15 years, it's just been offering spiritual direction. I do retreat work in various places, and sort of enjoy my husband and our quiet life together. And we have a pontoon boat, so we're out on that in the summer. And I just feel a lot of gratitude. But I think the heart message again that I would want to bring to the world is that we are loved, and that each one of us has passions and gifts, and it's our task, I guess, is to just find our way into being in that quiet place where we can discern our gifts and what it is that we're meant to do in the world, to care for ourselves and to offer who we are, the gifts and talents in whatever way that is for each one of us. So I should have started though by saying that when I was a child, I think, still a babe in arms, my mom had to go to the hospital, and I stayed with my grandmother. And my grandmother was a woman of prayer, more of a contemplative, quiet prayer person. And my aunt, who was living there at the time, told me that my grandmother had lifted me over the kitchen sink and dedicated me to God's service, not just to God, but to God's service. So I often say, so what chance did I have? So anyway, the prayers of a grandmother availeth much. But here I am, and I just am grateful for the Zoom work. I have meditations, and we're doing the Living the Questions program, which is great, and this YouTube. So I'm just very grateful to be able to connect with people and to just share what I've learned along the journey. There's always been that inner quest in me as to what's it all about, and so I think I've landed in a place where I'm pretty content right now. So thanks for listening, and I just thought you might want to know a little bit about me, since some of you are doing the meditation every week. So bless you, and till we meet again. Bye bye.